One thing I would improve, I would say, is that, and City College is definitely a lot better at it, but I think that we do need to see a lot more diversity, I think, in the field. Like that was kind of the one of the most discouraging things for myself, especially at Pra. I got there and there was nobody that really looked like myself. Like it's mind-boggling. It really kind of, I think, puts into perspective just like just the world kind of around us. But even like within architecture, like you said, it's I think that that is because you're just not. Okay, so I had this one experience in my history class where it was the first day, and he was going around the class and he was asking everyone, why did you study architecture? And for almost everyone in the room, it was because they knew somebody who was an architect or knew somebody that was in the creative field, like a parent or something, and then that's why they chose it. But when he got to me, he was like, "Oh, you must not know anybody who's an architect." So he said that to me. He's like, "You must not know anybody who's an architect. So kind of what led you to choose this field?" But you see, there's that assumption that just like, I guess within the back threw me off, and I was really, confounded. But it's just, I mean, he wasn't wrong. Like I didn't know anyone who was an architect or was in the field, but it was just more so the fact that he had that preconceived notion already. So that's one thing I would change, and I found it very hard to, I don't know, to see myself, to see like myself and like as an architect. It was very hard because I just didn't see anybody who looked like myself working in the field. And it took 2 years until I saw the first person of color like give a lecture at my school. It was I think it becomes a little bit discouraging when you can't really find somebody that like you feel like you could relate to in that field. And I don't, that would be just one thing I would change. And at City College, it's definitely better because it is a public school, and like they're, I feel like it's the places that they're looking for professors are like more diverse places, and they're younger professors, people who just graduated, so it's a little bit better there. But I also think the other thing I would change is I think that there needs to be more of an effort to get students funding for their education. That was one thing that I struggled with, like paying for school. It was one of the big reasons I transferred. It's just I couldn't afford Pratt Institute. It was very expensive. And I would reach out to professors and I would reach out to the financial aid office for more aid, and they would always just give me forms to sign for loans. Like there was no kind of option of a grant or a scholarship or anything that I can apply to. And it's definitely better at City College. They make a lot more of an effort to come to you with opportunities for grants and scholarships to apply to. But I think the cost of the architectural education is a big thing. I think it's not just your tuition, but it's also paying for your materials. It's very expensive, the paper, the supplies. That's I think one of the biggest things. Like for myself, like I've always had to work through school. Like there was never a time that I haven't, and I still do now, in order to be able to afford everything that I need to be able to pay for everything. Even the cost of printing your drawings, like it's $6 or $9 for 24 by 36, and you might have like 8 boards for a presentation on Monday. It really adds up, and every week